Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is April 7th. Let me make sure that my audio is working correctly. We got audio in here. Yep, we're good to go. April 7th, guys, it's Black Monday. We are alive. That's first. We're alive. I think we're alive. I'm on here. I don't know if Rodney's on here. Is Rodney alive? Do we have Rodney?
Yeah, we're live, motherfucker. Let's go.
Right. I was worried for a second, man, because it's Black Monday. I see everybody panicking. Dow Jones crashing, stock market crashing, Trump tariff wars. But Rodney, there is what appears to be some light at the end of the tunnel. And we're going to be talking about that today. How you doing, first off? How was the weekend?
Weekend was great. A lot of training, a lot of recovery, hanging out, eating good, chilling, being healthy. But, dude, absolutely insane what's going on in the markets right now. And we just got news that there was some fake news posted about Trump expected to announce 90-day tariff pause. It's fake.
That was fake?
It's fake, yeah.
Who posted it? There was like reputable sources posting it.
Here it is right here. So breaking, White House says news about Trump announcing 90-day tariff pause is fake. So this is rapid response 47, wrong, fake news. So that's not, so I wonder how the market's going to react to this. Let's just say it's been a volatile fucking morning in the markets right now. Yeah. And there's been so much news, especially this morning, and we're going to try to get through all of it.
And week as well, right? I mean, this all started, Liberation Day, I believe, was on Wednesday. It was
you
on
feel
Tuesday.
liberated?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, look, we all voted for Trump because we were going to be so sick at winning. We were going to be so rich. We weren't going to know what to do with their wealth. I don't think anybody, and I mean, I don't think anybody in the world besides the shorters actually feel that way. But we have said this before, Rodney. We did vote for him. And it's not like he's pulling tariffs out of his back pocket, right? This was something that he actually ran on. He talked about tariffs.
Yeah.
He talked about tariffing all these countries that were abusing us. And even right now, Rodney, I try to take the optimistic approach on this because we were getting abused by all these countries, right?
Yeah.
China, the European Union, pretty much every country. And we are experiencing some short-term pain. It sucks to say it now, but look, the stock market doesn't go in a straight line down forever. It is going to recover. It is going to rebound. And maybe these are necessary things that we need in order to set up a stronger America in the future.
Yeah. So what we know is that the path that we were going down before wasn't the right path. And it was obviously a path for us to default on the national debt, and that would actually destroy us, right? But I do have to acknowledge the fact that maybe this wasn't as well thought out as we thought they were. I mean, I've seen a lot of critics online, economists online saying that, some of these tariffs don't even make sense. And a lot of these aren't even reciprocal. And it seems like it wasn't really a thought out plan. It just was put out there. And, I sent you a video by one person I respect who's very neutral on a lot of situations, who anybody can get the smoke.
Yep.
And he made some good points, so I just hope it works out. We got some news that it could be working out, but the truth is the entire global economy is in shambles right now.
China as well, right? China's stock market took the biggest hit that they've had in a number of years, I think over a decade. And they actually paused their stock market. They stopped trading on their stock market. A circuit breaker is what they call it.
Oh, Japan. Yeah. Here are the numbers. So this is the stock market today. Check this out. So Hong Kong, negative 13%.
Oh my goodness.
Taiwan, 9%. Japan, 9%. Italy, 8.4%. Singapore, 8%. Sweden, 7%. China. This is Hong Kong, mainland China, 10%. And China's went up. It was the worst drop since 2008. Germany, 6.8, Spain, 6.4, Netherlands, 6.2, Australia, 6.8, like UK, it's everyone's.
And dollar amount, we're probably, because I think our stock market in total is the largest by market cap. So we're probably at the top. Obviously, percentage-wise, we're not in the top 10. Yeah. But in terms of dollar amount, what's up, Bree? How you doing? Bree, you come back in the bloodiest days.
The hell?
Dude, we had $108,000 Bitcoin.
The hell are you?
We didn't see you. No, we're happy to see you here. Remember, for 42 months, that's wild. But yeah, I mean, it is wild that one man and one policy can do this to the entire world. Like, all of this money is being wiped out of the stock markets all over. And Donald Trump is still holding strong to his tariffs. But we have seen some news that people are starting to bend the knee, right? I believe it was Vietnam and another Southeast Asian country. And then, so how do we know we can trust or not, Rodney? Was the stuff that we saw with the EU possibly bringing their tariffs down to zero? Is that true, or is that also fake news?
Yeah, so we got a report from Charlie Kirk, and he's like a pretty big, content creator. And I wouldn't think that he would post some fake news. If you want to pop it up right here, and we'll get into the market here in a second, but we got this from the EU.
We stand ready to negotiate with the United States. Indeed, we have offered 0 for 0 tariffs for industrial goods, as we have successfully done with many other trading partners, because Europe is always ready for a good deal. So we keep it on the table. But we are also prepared to respond through countermeasures and defend our interests. We stand ready.
So it's kind of like maybe, but I think that people are going to come to the negotiating table. The truth is, like, the little countries bending the knee, it's like, who gives a fuck, right? I get great, but it's the big countries,
China.
right? And this kind of situation is, I hope that, like, everyone else doesn't get a big disdain for the United States and just turn on us. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like that.
I don't know. We're just such big trading partners. I think that we're probably biggest in terms of exporting to a nation. I mean, we have 350 million people, and a lot of the people in this country, Rodney, they like to spend money. They like to buy things that they don't need. They like to buy cars that they don't need, right? Like, how many people have just 3-4 cars at their house, right? How many people are buying just Louis Vuitton, all these different designer things just because they have excess income? So at the end of the day, you might hate us, you might hate the United States of America, but you need us as a trading partner. And I think that's why we're seeing so many people bend the knee. But let's just take a quick look at the crypto markets, the stock markets, and then we can go ahead and get into some news here. So we are at 78,739. I think that we did pump to 80,000.
We did, yeah,
about an hour ago. And that was after we saw, I guess, the fake news that Donald Trump might be limiting his tariffs, or I guess pausing his tariffs for 90 days. How about Ethereum, Rodney? I think we should start skipping over Ethereum. 1563, Rodney. The all-time low in 2022, Rodney, was $900. We're at 1562, which is wild.
Yeah.
XRP is at 188. I'm pretty sure we saw XRP down to about 175 earlier this morning. BNB is at 554. Solana is at 106. Dogecoin was at a $29 billion market cap last week, right? And we saw a 50 billion plus Dogecoin earlier this year. We're at 22 billion today. Tron, surprisingly holding up strong. 22 cents. Cardano has taken a huge hit. Cardano's at 57 cents. Toncoin taking a big hit as well, down to $3. Chainlink, $11. Wow. Stellar Lumens is at 22 cents. Avalanche didn't really budge too much from last week, actually. 16.49. SWE is holding on at $2, Rodney. SWE to $2.
Yeah, it was like 180 last night or something like that.
Wow. Where's Shiba Inu? Did we skip ship? Here it is.
16, yeah.
$6.6 billion market cap. It looks like SWE has officially fallen below $2, which we had a $5 plus SWE 3 months ago, which is wild. And how about Pepe? Obviously, when the market moves, Pepe is expected to move. And Pepe has fallen below a $2.7 billion market cap. So crypto taking a huge hit today, Rodney. Not looking too good. But what's your outlook on crypto and when it relates to these tariffs?
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. The thing is, like, I'm not going to sit here and just like blindly like just trust Trump no matter what because we supported him. It's like, yeah, we can do things based on new evidence. And I think if, hopefully this whole tariff situation was well thought out and people actually start bending the knee and, actually, it's not even bending the knee. It's like making fair trade. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a negotiating tactic, in my opinion. It all depends because I think that what Donald Trump wants is for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates and those sorts of things, right? And Daisa Shoda says, Crash told you about XRP. Yeah, but it's like the whole market's dumping. It's like XRP's in a dump, right? Bitcoin's
Did call though.
He did. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he did. I mean, yeah, you called for what, like 40K Bitcoin or something like that?
Not like in the next coming days, but I think at the bottom of the bear market, I hope 40 to 50.
And we're going to see, right? But this is interesting, right? So Donald Trump just posted this over on X. So it says oil prices are down, interest rates are down, the slow-moving Fed should cut rates, food prices are down, there is no inflation, and the long-time abused USA is bringing in billions of dollars a week from the abusing countries on tariffs that are already in place. This is despite the fact that the bigger abuser of them all, China, whose markets are crashing, just raised its tariffs by 34%. If you guys know that, China's fighting it out with us right now. On top of its long-term ridiculously high tariffs, plus not acknowledging my warning for abusing countries not to retaliate. They've made enough for decades, taking advantage of the good old USA. Our past leaders are to blame for allowing this and so much else to happen to our country. Make America great again. And that's true. Like, you have to understand, like, dire times call for dire faces, and sometimes change is uncomfortable. And the truth is, the path that we were going on was unsustainable. So we got to do something. We got to figure fucking something out. So great point from Trump. Now, we did get word this morning. If you want to pull my screen again, the Federal Reserve announced closed board meetings today to discuss the quote, the advance of discount rates. So maybe, just maybe, I think it's taking place here soon. We'll get some sort of like emergency interest rate cuts, which is obviously what they want.
We need this, right?
Yeah.
This is what we need. And Rodney, correct me if I'm wrong, but there might be a chance, there might be a possibility that Donald Trump, I'm not saying this is happening,
right? Yeah.
There might be a chance that he has wanted interest rates to get cut, Jerome Powell was not doing it, that he potentially crashed the markets in order to do so. Is there a chance that that's possible?
Yeah, absolutely. 1000%. I think, now, unfortunately, here's the thing with doing that. I think that, a lot of people, don't understand that. They don't understand the maybe 40 chess or whatever you want to say. Right.
Yep.
So a lot of people are selling at a loss and they're going to be fucked forever because they exit their positions, and yeah, say what you want, but it's like, you got to feel bad for people like that who don't have diamond balls,
I know you got to have it. I want to make it clear, and I'm sure Rodney's the same. I haven't sold anything in this market correction. I haven't put any money in either. But at the end of the day, it's like, I've just heard stories about people that sold, millions of dollars during COVID. And if they would have held on, it would have been worth 3 times as much just from holding. So
yeah,
we understand that the stock market historically goes up and to the right. We understand that the crypto markets, if you're looking at the top altcoins, Bitcoin is especially, not meme coins when I'm talking about this, historically goes up and to the right as well. So when you have this market tumulation, Rodney, and this extreme fear, usually the best thing you can do is to put money in the markets. If you don't have any money to put in the markets, just to hold, right? It tends to get better with time.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking. Now, this, going back to what I was talking about before. This is a post from Paul Sweeney. I think you sent this to me. It says, what people don't understand is that 42% of people have no exposure to the stock market in the United States. So don't give a fuck if you crushed S&P to get them to a place where they can buy a house. You guys can all cope harder about your 401ks that you don't trade out of, have lost 25% of their paper value. But the working class and poor don't give a shit about your portfolio management strategy, vis-a-vis, I don't know what that is, the intelligent advisor. You can listen to guys like this guy talk about how traumatic this is, but if you're not exposed, you don't give a shit, which is true. Like, a lot of everyday people are not investing and they're like, I don't give a shit about that. I'd rather, have inflation go down and get a job here in the United States, right? You can take any amount of reshuffling the deck, even if there's a 5% chance that you will get a better outcome. So this is a little snippet from what Trump had to say about the situation.
There pain in the market at some point you're unwilling to tolerate this idea of a Trump put? Is there a threshold?
I think your question is so stupid. I think it's I don't want anything to go down, but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something. And we have such a horrible, we have been treated so badly by other countries because we had stupid leadership that allowed this to happen. They took our businesses, they took our money, they took our jobs, they moved it to Mexico, they moved it to Canada, they moved a lot of it to China, and it's not sustainable. We're not going to do it. Now we have hundreds of millions of dollars is pouring into our country. On a monthly basis, it's pouring, it's already started because they put tariffs on. And eventually it's going to straighten out and our country will be solid and strong again.
Interesting, right? Interesting.
Yeah, he also shit on that reporter. She asked one more question about tariffs, and he goes, "Where are you from?" And she's like, "Bloomberg." And he's like, "Next question." She asks a lot of questions. He kind of shits on her. But I think that he's right, Rodney. And I will say that interview that he had on the Air Force One, I've watched pretty much all of Trump's past interviews. That was the first time I saw him look actually stressed.
That's what you're
last
saying.
night.
Yeah.
He looked a little bit stressed. He looked like the pressure, for the first time I've seen in a while. I mean, the guy took a bullet. The guy's been under media scrutiny for years. The first time he looked like he was under pressure and feeling the stress of his actions, which are these tariffs.
Yeah, just because in my opinion, his kind of ego is so tied to the stock market. You know what I mean? And he's always talked about that. It's always been a big deal for him. Now, obviously, in time, if it gets better, then he wins. But right now it's just tough for people. I think you just have to ignore the noise. I mean, everybody we watch gives us the same old generic advice, which is great. It's like, hey, man, have some diamond balls. But how about Warren fucking Buffett cashing out before all this shit?
So smart. I'm from now on going to copy trade him.
Yeah.
So smart. When he cashed out $300 billion, it was when things were just running.
Yeah.
I guess that's how you win, man. You don't try to time the market. You understand he probably got in most of his, he probably put a lot of money in during COVID. He now sees everything at all-time highs. He cashed out. Everybody's like, why is he cashing out Apple? Why is he cashing out Microsoft? And it turns out that he was right. Let's take a look at the stock market here.
Yeah, send it.
And see how it's performing. So this is just based off of when Donald Trump got into office, or when he was actually elected, excuse me. So he won on November 6th, correct? So the Dow Jones was at 42,221. And we had an all-time high close to 45,000 after his inauguration. You can see here, after the tariffs were announced, fell off a cliff. Pretty much on Liberation Day, April 2nd, we were at the same levels as when he won, and then now down to 37,000. Same thing with the S&P. The S&P, we can see on November 5th, Donald Trump won the election, won the presidency, $5,700, all-time high, over $6,000. And then same thing, pretty much on April 2nd, right around the same price as when he took office or won the election, fell off a cliff after Liberation Day. And then the Russell 2000, which does have some pretty key characteristics for cryptocurrency, 2260. We had an all-time high right around 2,500. And this as well is at 1828 today, down 16% in the past 6 months. So
yeah,
stocks getting crushed, equities getting crushed, crypto getting crushed as well. And it's all in Donald Trump's hands. This is, I can't imagine being him. Like, how powerful is one man?
That.
I would hate that, right? But how powerful is one man?
Yeah.
But look, this we can't say that he surprised us, right? I don't want anyone to say that Donald Trump, why is he doing this? He ran on tariffs.
Yeah,
he
I
did
know.
run on tariffs. He mentioned it in every single press conference, every single speech.
Yeah, but it wasn't done correctly. It was just like thrown out there, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I felt like he didn't sit there and think about the situation before he moved forward. It's like, bam, sweeping tariffs, man. Everybody can get it. Now everybody bend the knee. People are like, well, nah, we're gonna hit you with tariff, reciprocal tariffs.
Yeah, that's bad. First 100 days, I think he's trying to make some like sweeping action. But the thing is, too, when you do this, though, it's like, how many people, like, really put yourself in this position, right? Midterm elections come up in about a year and a half, right? Not long, 400 days. How many people that voted for Trump to make their life better, the economy better, might actually switch back to the other side because because what they voted for is not actually happening?
He's got to fix it because the war in Ukraine's not over. Israel and whatever is escalating. I mean, we got that little post from Tucker Carlson here, which is like, well, I didn't even know that was fucking happening right now.
I saw it on X. Yeah, there's, I think apparently, I'll try to pull it up so we can quote it, but apparently,
I'll pull it up here in a second. Give me a second.
Well, there's like a type in, let me see. So apparently the U.S. sent 40,000 troops to the Middle East.
Yeah, I heard about that. We do not need another fucking war right now.
That's the last thing that we need.
Here, I'll pull it up right here. Tucker Carlson did talk about it. Here it is. He says this: whatever you think of tariffs, it's clear that now is the worst possible time for the United States to participate in the military strike on Iran. We cannot afford it. Thousands of Americans would die. We'd lose the war that follows. Nothing would be more destructive to our country, and yet we're closer than ever. Thanks to unrelenting pressure from neocons. This is suicidal. Anyone advocating for conflict with Iran is not an ally of the United States, but an enemy. Interesting, right? I wonder if this whole tariff situation is like a smokescreen for what the fuck's going on in the Middle East sometimes.
It can't be, dude. That would be crazy. That would be wild. I wouldn't put it past them if it was. And this was the quote here. The picture here, I don't know if this is a trusted source.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But they say over 40,000 American troops are being deployed across the Middle East in what reports confirm is preparation for a potential war with Iran.
Yeah. So what's going on with Iran is obviously they're funding a lot of enemies of Israel, right? Like all those, all the whatever, rebel gangs and shit. And first, it's probably a stock image, but the news is probably true. And we don't want them we want to stop them from creating a nuclear weapon. Obviously, like our biggest person there in that vicinity is Israel, and we can't have them getting hit by a nuke, So interesting.
Yeah, I don't think that. I mean, Donald Trump ran on no wars, right? So we hope that is not the case. It looks like Trump just tweeted 3 minutes ago. Go ahead and pull this up. Yesterday, China issued retaliatory tariffs of 34% on top of their already record-setting tariffs, non-monetary tariffs, illegal subsidization of companies, and massive long-term currency manipulation, despite my warning that any country that retaliates against the U.S. by issuing additional tariffs above and beyond their already existing long-term tariff abuse of our nation will be immediately met with new and substantially higher tariffs. It's not good. Over and above those initially set. Therefore, if China, oh, wow, he's giving them an ultimatum. Therefore, if China does not withdraw its 34% increase above their already long-term trading abuses by tomorrow, April 8th, 2025, oh no, Rodney, you read it. I don't even want to read this terrible shit. The United States will impose additional tariffs on China of 50%. Holy shit. So this is the big one right here. Therefore, if China does not withdraw its 34% increase above their already long-term trading abuses by tomorrow, April 8th, the United States will impose additional tariffs on China of 50% effective April 9th. Additionally, all talks with China concerning the requested meetings with us will be terminated. Negotiations with other countries, which have also requested meetings, will begin taking place immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, Ronnie, does China withdraw their 34% increase in tariffs, or do we hit them with an additional 50% on April 9th?
Big dick contest, right?
Huge.
And I don't think Trump has the ego to back down from this, or maybe even meet in the middle. It's like it's his way or the highway, which is crazy. And only a Sith deals in absolutes for all my Star Wars fucking people out there. No absolutes, goddamn it! Stop it.
It's bad. It's just it's getting worse. But look, this is. Can we be honest though? It's like we do need a like. When I was watching Donald Trump, even though he looked stressed on the Air Force One last night, at least we have a president.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine to be out there in machismo, but it's also good to realize that you don't need to fucking tweet everything on True Social like a fucking kid, and you don't, you know what I mean? Real G's move in silence like lasagna, maybe. I don't know. And then maybe like negotiate a little more. I don't know. Do things behind closed doors. It's like, why are you doing that?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So now we already have the tariffs that wrecked everybody. Now we have
it's really pissed me off.
Additional 50% tariffs on China that will begin April 9th. If they do not withdraw, it's 34% increase above their already long term. So the question of the day is, right? We have about 24 hours. Will China withdraw its 34% increase right here? Or do we add an additional 50% tariffs? This is crazy. This is actually crazy.
Yeah. It is actually crazy. You know what I mean? I like this here. We're going to pull up this little chart here. Someone said this ain't a serious market. So we had news from Kaleshi. Breaking: S&P adds $4 trillion in 20 minutes as President Trump is reportedly considering 90-day pause. Breaking: CNBC is reporting the headlines of President Trump is false.
Crazy, bro.
This is a span of 20 minutes, like, oh my God.
It just feels like a lot of manipulation too. It could be.
It could.
It always has. This whole market has.
Yeah, it's interesting times. It doesn't seem. I heard like the other day, like Russia launched ballistic missiles into Kiev or something like that. Johnny says we like it in the open, keep it real. I get it, but sometimes you don't need to put your business you know what I mean? Like, actions not words is kind of a thing to me. You know what I mean? Like we're saying a bunch of shit. I don't fucking know. If you're China, you got to think about it though. It's like, man, we've been like we've been the silver medal this entire time. Can we fucking get a W? I don't know. It's tough. It's tough.
Yep.
Two superpowers beefing.
Yeah, and we're both each other's, best trading partners. But if you did, did you watch that video last night of him speaking on Air Force One?
Yeah, the one you sent me. Yeah, he's a little shook. Yeah.
He says our trade deficit with China is over $1 trillion. So he's like, I'm not negotiating with China until they fix that, right? Because we're importing over $1 trillion worth of more goods than they are from us, right? Like that's a lot of money that we're keeping their economy. So I do believe I honestly think, like, American or not, let's just say we're from Europe. I would say that the USA does have a better negotiating standpoint because they're importing so much more goods than China. But Jayhawk says, all this news, y'all out of minds. If y'all think we go back to even where the market was, summer's approaching, we know it's not going to happen.
Jayhawk, you need to chill the fuck out. Yeah.
I mean, look, me and Rodney, we both have a very long-term approach on investing. Sure, we were planning on cashing out some profits, right, when the markets hit all-time highs, which they did, and we thought they were going to go back up. But for anyone that's sitting there watching, that's like, I can't believe I didn't sell in January or December. It's like, if you were in January or December, you thought the markets were going to keep going up, especially the crypto markets. You just selected a pro-crypto president, Donald Trump. They're talking about a strategic reserve. They're talking about making crypto the best. So I see a lot of people on my timeline beating themselves up because they're like, I had $1 million. Now I have $300,000. What was I doing? I mean, all you can do is learn from it. But I do think that the markets will recover. Jayhawk, I don't know if it's going to happen in June, July, August, next year, whenever. But Bitcoin will be trading above 108,000 at some point. ETH is on life support, Rodney. What do we do about ETH? I'm being honest. How shocked are you, bro?
Shocked.
In 2022, ETH was at $900 after FTX. In 2025, after we have a pro-crypto president, ETH is at $1,500.
Yeah, it's absolutely. One second, I need some Zins here. Yeah, absolutely. I need some.
You want me to come down?
No, I got
the same building.
We got some. But it's absolutely insane. I mean, there's just so much competition with Vitalik and Ethereum. I don't know. I don't even know if any manipulation can help Ethereum at this point. Shout out to Eric Trump. This is a great time to add ETH. Thank me later. When later, which is we could obviously timestamp that for another time.
It's not done with. Space will say ETH is not done with.
I don't think it's done with. Yeah,
it will make a recovery. I don't know when, but definitely got hit the hardest. I mean, let's just take a look at ETH while we have some time here. I got to see what's going on with Ethereum. So 1559. I mean, let's just scroll in. Let's just check out the bottom of Ethereum. I cannot believe that we're here. I mean, so in 2021, in 2021, we had a higher ETH than we do now. On February 9th, 2021, we had a higher ETH. Let's just go back to the good old days, right? $4,000 ETH on May 10th, 2021. Even when we fell, Rodney, after its all-time high in 2021, we were trading higher than we are today. And then we did pump to $4,900. But after FTX, I think it was in November, right? ETH fell down to $900, the low. And we're trading at $1,500 today.
Yeah.
Okay, so if someone asks you, right, not financial advice, but let's just say a friend comes up to you and they say, hey, Rodney, I've seen you talk about Ethereum a lot. I like Ethereum. Is buying Ethereum at 1545 in 1544, we keep going lower, in 2025 a good buy or not?
I say yes.
And why?
Now, do I know? I just, I'm giving it some credit for its history. I'm giving it a little cred for its history. You know what I mean? That's it.
You got his ends?
I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
Why? What is those?
All I had was menthol flavor. I know I'm black, but I ain't that black.
I'll come down.
Not later. I have to like
tell your friend to come up.
I have to like dip to like I'm on a time crunch. To
tell your assistant to come up.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think it is a buy, but God, dude, I would.
I mean, isn't it crazy, bro?
Crazy, bro.
You wore it back to 2021. Jake right now goes back and says, "Hey, jakegagain." And fucking 2025, Bitcoin's gonna hit an all-time high, but Ethereum's gonna not. You'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
There's no way.
There's no way.
That's what makes crypto so exciting, though, because even today, so ETH was at $900 when Bitcoin was at 15,000. If I would have said Bitcoin even today would be trading at $78,000, you'd be like, oh, 6-7K ETH.
Yeah, easy. Yeah.
Our caffeine's still bullish. We like that. We respect that.
I'm gonna. It's to me with Ethereum, it maybe till ride till the wheels fall off kind of thing. That's what I think.
I mean, selling here would be pointless,
I mean, it depends how much you got, but
Yeah. I mean, ETH is my largest holding, and I took profits along the way. Like, I'm pretty sure I cashed out a decent amount, like at 35, 4K, small amount. But I was planning this cycle on ETH going to at least 6K, least 6K. Now I'm praying that this cycle, if we are still in a bull run, right? A lot of it depends on what happens with tariffs, but this cycle, I'll be happy if we go back to 4K.
With the tariff situation, I think we all knew that Trump was going to impose tariffs. I don't think we thought it would affect the stock market this bad. I think that's the difference.
And I didn't know it. We knew tariffs, but like even 2 weeks ago, Rodney, we were thinking tariffs on China, Canada, and Mexico, right?
Yeah,
that's what we were thinking. That's what we were talking about. Oh, Canada, we're negotiating with Canada, Mexico, we're negotiating. And then all of a sudden it's tariffs on every single country, nation, state in the entire world.
Yeah, exactly.
Every single commonwealth.
Yeah.
He even said, what did he say yesterday on the Air Force One? Bro, he said yesterday on the Air Force One, he said, we're going to make the European Union pay us tariffs currently. And then we're also going to have them pay us for the past. I'm like,
okay. And
crazy. What's up, Benny Moon? How you doing, brother?
Crazy. It's kind of batshit insane. I just remember him talking about like the war in Ukraine and how much money we sent over that 300 billion. Like the real numbers is like 180 billion that we know. Like that's like a factual. We don't know anything about 300 billion. So I hope a lot of these numbers aren't fibbed and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Yep. And guys, if you are watching this, make sure to retweet this.
Yeah, repost this space. Yeah.
Repost, hit that like button if you are on YouTube. Riley and I are officially the only KOLs or influencers that are streaming because everybody else ran off and is hiding.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody just dipped the fuck out, which, hey, we get it. It's scary times right now. And, even we get this too. It's like, what is there to talk about, except to rally the troops pretty much and give everybody hope and those sorts of things.
I mean, there is a lot of there's today though. There's a lot of shit going on. Obviously, Rodney, I love to come onto a stream when we're at $100,000 wearing our suits, pumping shit to the moon. But I also do like to cover, this is like real financial news, right? Yeah. It's not, and that's what makes finance so exciting. And crypto is part of finance, is that it's the ups, it's the downs, it's the ups, it's the downs. And this is how you really learn. Like you actually, believe it or not, guys, you need to be here more today and when the markets are dipping than when the markets are pumping. Because this is how you learn. Because guess what? Next time some crazy shit like this happens, you understand, oh, wait, I remember what happened back in January. I might pull some chips off the table. And you know what? When the Dow Jones crashes for 3 days straight, over 1,000 basis points, 3 days straight, maybe that's when I put some money in, right? It's very similar to what happened in C19. A lot of people made a lot of money. So you need to be here more now than you do when markets are pumping.
Yeah, actually just get locked in. It's important to locked in with the boys. But yeah, it's important to just understand what's going on around us and just know that history tells us that it's not going to stay like this forever. History tells us that it's probably a great buying opportunity. And literally everyone, all the like legit people that I listen to that are just not in crypto, that are just in stocks, and just people in general, like, hey man, markets, the crazy thing about markets is that they mess with your emotion. People can't handle the bullshit. And, that's why more people are here and the viewership's crazy and stuff when the market's pumping, is because people are like, oh, everything's pumping. They heard about it. But you guys, when you guys are here in the trenches every single day, tapped in, you're the ones who are going to come out on top and win,
Just think about how easy it is, though. Like, it's very simple. You do not make money when the markets are pumping. You make money when the Dow Jones is down 3,000 basis points and you put money in. You make money when Bitcoin's at 78K and it goes back up to 108K, right?
Yeah.
That's when you make money. This is when you need to be here. And as Polish Samurai says, what a name that is, huh? Polish Samurai? Polish Power, Jan Blachowicz.
Oh, yeah. Wait, is Jan? Oh, yeah, Jan is, yeah.
Ronnie, how many people that we know personally, and just people that you can probably imagine are in this world, invested in November, December, January, and will never come back to crypto?
A lot. Yeah, a lot. And that's the thing about the stock market dumping, is that, if it's the tariffs or whatever the situation, like, it's going to shake a lot of people out for good. A lot of people are going to freak the fuck out, take their chips and leave, and not be able to, ride this back up, So a lot of people are going to, because you only lose if you sell at a loss, right? On paper, you're down a lot, but in reality, you're not out and you're not negative until you actually like exit your position. That applies to everything. So you only lose if you sell. Obviously that depends on what you're fucking buying. I'm not talking about mean small cap shit coins. I'm talking about like big daddy Bitcoins, top altcoins, and of course whatever big stocks there are. You only lose if you sell.
It's a great point. You only lose if you sell. And honestly, what I do on these days, the past 5 days, Roddy, I haven't looked at my portfolio once.
I've been buying Bitcoin.
Well, as you mentioned,
you know me.
When the markets crash, it does cause you to make impulse decisions. Like selling, like, oh my God, I had $100,000. Now I have 60. Let me sell. But we ultimately know that's how you get wrecked in the long term. So you only lose when you sell. It's a great point. And secondly, to protect your mental health, to protect your mental stability, don't look at the markets on red days. If you have more capital, deploy it into the markets if you feel comfortable. If not, sit there, do nothing, sit on your hands, go outside, go for a walk. The markets historically, Rodney, ever since they've been around, crypto and stocks have recovered and have set new all-time highs.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. And, just to go back on top of that, like, I always try to consume political media because I think I need to be tapped in. And let me tell you, dude, it's so much brain rot. You know what I mean? It's just like fucking everyone hates each other. People are protesting, black people killing white people this. It's like literally like a lot of my feed is just like so racist. Which, look, I'm not an SJW at all, but damn, some of this shit's like, God damn, it's just racist. Like X-Man and some of these other platforms are absolutely crazy. So it's good to take some time, get the fuck outside, touch some grass, spend some time with your loved ones, and decompress a little bit and come back to the news a little later, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Except watch our show. Make sure you watch our show. Everything else.
Every day at 11.
Yeah, watch our show every day at 11.
Come in. We're going to be streaming every single day, giving you the best news and hopefully providing some sort of, a calm, if you will. But then again, you have to be the same type of investor that Roddy and I are. Like, we're long-term investors. I've said I'll never sell my Bitcoin. I want to pass it down to my family forever. We'll take profits on ETH recovers. We'll take profits on Sol. But this is just part of the game. It reminds me a lot of what happened back in 2020. It reminds me a lot about what happened back in 2021 when the market started crashing. Coach, if you can you pull this up? I want to show a chart. And I want to get Rodney's opinion. Rodney, are we here or not?
I've seen this.
Pull her up, Jamie.
Pull her up, yeah.
This is the chart.
Yeah, are we there?
Bitcoin chart in 2022 or 2020, right? This was the C19 crash. It was a massive crash, which then led to all-time highs in 2021 of a $69,000 Bitcoin. It looks eerily similar, Rodney, to 2025. Obviously, though, this right here, this would be a massive, we're up significantly since 2022. But do we see some sort of price action like this and one more massive leg up, or do we see Bitcoin and crypto continue to tumble down? What's your honest opinion right now?
I honestly think with a lot of these charts, you can just kind of fuck around with them and make them fit whatever fucking narrative you have.
You can.
And it's that this would be a 5-year cycle instead of a 4-year cycle, really. So I don't know. I don't know. I think that obviously we broke a lot of norms this cycle. We talked about that the 4-year cycle this time is just different. Like we have so many different things going on, and it feels like right now in this very moment we're in a really important place in history. Like really important. Like it feels really important right now. We're breaking so many norms, right? We have our biggest trading partners coming out and just allies saying that the landscape may look different, like of course, like Canada, the EU. People say it's lost with their mass immigration problem, those sorts of things. We're trying to stop globalism and stuff like that. It's like it seems like I'm not sure if the power shifting or not, because all great empires, I wouldn't say come to an end, but like they do come to an end. But like someone else, becomes a top dog eventually. So it feels like we're in a really important part of history, and like all these 4-year cycles that we kind of base what's going to happen in the future off of, it's not really the same. It's not comparable. It's just so different. Like we have BlackRock on crypto, we have, a pro crypto government. And now we have this tariff situation, and maybe allies that were allies are not going to be allies. And I don't fucking know. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, all empires do come to an end. And I think that ours might have came to an end if we were continuing on the path that we were on.
For sure, 1,000%.
Yeah. So I don't hate it. Like short term, yes, I invest in stocks. I invest in crypto. I hate tariffs today, but I plan on living another 70 years here in America. And I think what Donald Trump is doing now, what he has the balls to do, the gusto to do, will actually serve Americans very, very well in the future.
Ape Life says the market is so bad that Rodney and Jake couldn't afford the gas money to drive to the studio today. Literally, the studio's in Jake's apartment, and I live in the same building as Jake. I might be a little sick, so I'm staying in my little. For sure, there's a sickness in this apartment. there's sickness. COVID. Yeah, there's someone's got something.
I mean, Rodney and I were we were sick for 2 weeks. Yeah. I mean, and didn't kick it. Still streamed every day. Yeah. A little bit of a cough. So there's something going around. But yeah, I thought that chart was interesting. But why did Eric Trump do us like that, though? Good question, actually. Like when you think about it.
Yeah, he did us dirty, bro. Yeah,
he did us kind of dirty. I mean, he said, dude, $2,700. He said, buy ETH now. And that's got to be iconic. One of the best tweets of all time.
One of the things I always talk about, guys, is that I'm pro-Trump, obviously, but I'm not stupid enough to think that these guys are not in it. Look, you can only have one more term. I get as of right now, I guess. We hear people calling for another term for Donald Trump, but they're trying to get in and make as much money as they can and get out. They're not stupid, and crypto is a good vehicle, a vessel for that.
How much money is enough money, man? They already got billions.
Some people just want everything, Some people are okay with something to get by or just live a normal life. Some people want yachts and they want everything. They want to secure their children's generations' future. Like some people are not satisfied with being okay, which I think is great because that creates a lot of great people. Because Jake, I always think about like if I went back, if history comprised of just Rodneys, we would get nothing done.
I disagree, bro. You're a hard worker.
Not really, dude. I could be hard. I could work hard, but I'm saying like think about like great people in life. Like I think about like ancient civilizations and people like built shit and had visionaries like Elon Musk. Like I ain't me. You know what I mean? We're not Jeff Bezos and shit like that, but. I just think that some people just want more and they want more money. They want to secure generations and generations. You know what I mean? So I don't know. But I just want to go over Watcher Guru. Like look at Watcher Guru, right? Watcher Guru is probably one of my favorite sources for news. If you want to pull up my screen here and just go look at the last 24 hours, and I'll talk about some of they've been posting every like minute, right? So Zimbabwe was going to remove tariffs, right? Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu is going to meet with the presidents to negotiate a new tariff deal, right? Taiwan offers zero tariffs and pledges to increase investments in the United States, right? We have all these different things. Secretary Howard Lutnick says trillions of dollars of factories are going to be built in America. Now, this is something I want to talk about because, I sent that Dr. Grande video to you, and I thought he made a very good point because we are bringing jobs back to America. But understand that's going to take time. And I wonder about all the businesses that do rely on external trade, how long they can go, because it takes years to build factories. It takes years to get some sort of thing going in the United States to actually build jobs. How many companies that are relying on external trade are going to go under because in the meantime, it's going to be some short-term pain.
I know.
A lot of people, including businesses, are living paycheck to paycheck. That's the American way. A lot of businesses are living paycheck to paycheck and only can afford maybe a couple of months without paying their fucking whatever their fee is to operate wherever they're at before they go under. So they may not have the time to transition, So that's interesting. And that's something that really like, It's really been stuck in my mind. I'm like, wow, yeah, it's gonna be short-term pain, but how many people can actually afford that?
Yeah, it's so tricky, right? It's very tricky, especially when it comes to this. But at the end of the day, it's like, don't you want those factories to be here in America?
I do, but I also don't want businesses that are, that are like doing well now to like go under because they can't,
I agree. But long term, like in 20 years, Rodney, the year's 2045, aren't you going to be happy that all these factories, Nike, Apple, Amazon, are built here in America and not in China?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, and it's just it's crashing. But do you think Donald Trump expected the stock markets to react this way?
No.
He probably expected a small drop, but nothing like C19. But at the end of the day, I think that, like, regardless, if he does recover the markets, he is now recovering it from a lower standpoint. So his percentage gain is probably going to be one of the greatest that we've seen in history if he does what he's supposed to do.
I say fuck this guy's fucking little stats he wants for presidents and think about the little guys right now. Because you got to look at, because Nike can afford to go, transition, pause, and a lot of people could, but Joe Schmo, who runs a little farming business or what, mom and pop shop, like, they're fucked, at least for now, until we can get more jobs in the United States. So it's interesting. It's interesting. It's interesting.
This is what Rand Neuner said. He says, funny how just as the markets start to run a new tariff threat in China, they can't let the markets recover. They need to force the Fed's hand.
Yep.
Let's get a percentage. Do you think that we're going to have a Fed interest rate cut this week?
I think so. I don't know. I think they have to, right?
I think they have to. I think he's forcing their hand. I think they have to. So I think Crypto Ram is kind of right. Kayla says, good morning. Are we enjoying this bull run? Yeah,
good morning, Kayla.
We're going to be so rich. You're going to hate being so rich.
Yeah, you're going to hate winning. I'm hating it right now. Obviously, some people won't even feel the effect. There's people that are just so extremely wealthy that they're fine, but it's the people at the lower end, and maybe the people that we're planning on, because who knows how long it'll take for this to go back up. And if you're retiring this year, you ain't retiring this year, motherfucker.
Yeah, it's a bad year to be 65 years old.
Bad year.
So I do feel for those people, right? And there's a large majority of people that are planning on retiring in 2025.
Yeah.
I feel for those people. But if you're 55 and you got 10 years left in your retirement plan, I don't necessarily feel too bad for you. All you have to do is hold and things will get better.
Yeah.
Interesting tweet here from DB. He says 10% move in NASDAQ, 8% in S&P 500 on what appears to be a headline someone made up and spread like wildfire on Twitter. And then blockchain backer quote tweets and says, it's the shorts closing. Next dip is likely the one that they will long. And he's obviously hinting that the bottom is going to be in here for cryptocurrency and stocks in general.
Yeah. Coach is putting memes in the fucking, this is one. Coach is putting memes in the chat. Here's one pulled up.
That's how you know we're down bad.
Are you winning, son?
That's how you know we're down bad. Coach is putting memes in the chat.
Chat, true or false? Is Trump talking like a dev telling us to hold our bags?
Kinda.
Hey, hold your bags, motherfucker. Centralized exchange listings on the way.
I will say though, he does keep the confidence, right? Like people are like, hey, the stock market has had its worst 3 days in history. He's like, I think it's doing just fine. We're gonna boom. And I think that we will, Rodney. Call me crazy. I think that we will boom at some point. Call me crazy. Yeah. Historically, we do.
So this is an interesting post from a cigar guy at Breaking Points. Really, really good follow. If you don't follow him, he does a show Breaking Points.
I'm going to follow him.
But he says, preview of what is left in the Chinese arsenal, lowering borrowing costs for Chinese businesses, pumping money to boost their domestic economy, and restricting supply of rare earth minerals to the United States. So this is what they have left. So Chinese officials told state media on Monday that they're preparing to cut borrowing costs and lowering cash reserve requirements for lenders. So they're doing things with their economy to, adjust, right? They also said that there was ample room to expand the state's fiscal deficit and use extraordinary measures to boost consumption. So they're going to go into debt to try to save their economy. Trump's trade offensive comes at a difficult time for Beijing, which is actively courting foreign investments to bolster a sluggish economy and battle deflationary pressure. So China's going through it too, really bad. The Ministry of Commerce, which grants approval for Chinese companies to export critical components and machinery, could toughen screening measures for U.S. customers, experts say. One Beijing-based intermediary who sells Chinese intermediate goods and manufacturing equipment to the U.S. said that in recent months, regulators had drag their feet in issuing approvals for items on its controlled list of goods that require an export license, including critical minerals. They don't give you a firm no, the person said. So this is coming from a person who's dealing with these guys. They just don't reply to your application. We've seen in the past during periods of geopolitical tension that these approvals get stuck. So obviously China is fighting back, but they're going through it too. And they're going to face backlash from their residents or citizens too. So it's not just all crazy here. So
yeah, China's actually going through it worse than us. This is a look at their top index, the Nikkei 225.
That's Japan, I think. Yeah, it's Japan.
Tokyo, correct.
Yeah.
But Tokyo,
yeah, they're getting fucked too.
Getting smashed, right?
But they're coming to negotiate, though. I have it right here. So the Japanese prime minister says he's ready to visit the U.S. to negotiate tariffs with President Trump. And then President Trump said they're sending like a strong negotiating team or something like that to U.S.
This is a good example, though. Go ahead and pull this up. Like, I remember this happening. It was back in August.
Yeah.
Remember, I remember that they closed the stock market, that the stock market crashed. But look at this. Everyone that panic sold here in August, July, when it went down to $31,000, you missed out on all this, right? And the same thing's happening today. They're actually right around the same price. But this is just a good example, a good visual example of what's happening with our stock markets. You have these scary red days. Everyone's 401k goes down, and then it recovers nicely, right?
Yeah.
But Japan getting absolutely crushed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody's getting crushed. We saw the numbers earlier. Like, the United States is a leader in a lot of things, and if we do some shit, everybody else is gonna, it's gonna affect a lot of people. But I sent you a message, Jake. If you want to finish up, I know we have like some insane viewership today.
Yeah, I'll keep it going for another 15 minutes. Good luck at where you're going.
Yeah, I just want to leave it. I have to go do stuff with the DMV to become an official Florida man. But I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay strong. This is crazy. All it's political and stuff like that. We're kind of caught in the middle of it. Let's just hope Trump's mad plan works out. And if it does, he's going to be one great president, right?
We're going to be rich. If this shit works out, this negotiating tactic,
I'm saying, bro,
he'll go down as a goat. I'm keeping my faith.
Me too.
And have fun. I'll see you after, brother.
All right, see you, motherfuckers.
All right, we'll keep it rolling here, guys. And let's just do a quick look at the cryptocurrency markets. See how we're doing today. So 78,663. As you saw, we went up to $80,000 earlier today, right? This was about an hour ago, $80,000. We started the night. Oh, I remember this last night, guys. I was watching a movie. We were at $83,000. Next thing I looked, we were down to $77K. I was like, what is going on? And now we're back up to $78,000. So we didn't even look at meme coins today. Should we look at memes? I'm sure they're getting absolutely slaughtered. Let's just take a look at the top meme coins. This is going to hurt. I own most of these in the top 10, but let's do it for the culture. See how we're doing today. So Dogecoin, we went through 22 billion. SHIB below 6 billion. Pepe, 2.7 billion. The official Trump token went from 15 billion down to 1.5 billion. Bonk actually holding up decently strong, $793 million market cap. Fortcoin, can someone explain this to me? How Fortcoin is ripping on the day? 510 million. Floki down to 489 million. SPX up 13% on the day. Someone explain this to me. $474 million market cap. Dog with hat down to 346. Melania has fell below a $300 million market cap. Bread on base at 262. Sneck, 182 million. This was a $500 million plus market cap token. PopCap was at 2 billion not long ago. Now at 137 million. Mog is at 130 million. GigaChat, 125 million. Like I said, it hurts to look at some of these guys, but we got to do it on good days or bad days. Let me know in the chat, who is buying meme coins today? Is anyone buying meme coins today? Woo! Now that he gone, let's party. Let's party, Jayhawk. Who's buying meme coins today, guys? Honestly, I don't even think I am at this point. It's like I'm holding my cash to see what happens with the markets. But it's not looking great for meme coins today, and crypto not looking great as well. Let's see what other news we have. So Blockchain Backer is one of the guys that I've been following on YouTube for quite some time. And he gives some pretty accurate information. I will say this, Blockchain Backer did give some prices for cryptocurrencies that if they hit these levels, he was going to be selling, right? If the Russell 2000 went below 1950, he thought that we're going to head into a recession and a bear market. He also said if XRP fell below 189, he would be taking some of his initial investment. I think it's like 20% of his bag off of the table. Jayhawk said, sign out of your wallet. I don't have my wallets on here. This is like a streaming computer. I might have like a wallet, but It's a streaming computer. There's no crypto on this laptop. And we hit those levels, right? The Russell fell below 1950. XRP fell below $1.89. Actually, I think it's below $1.89 as we speak. Yeah, it's at $1.88, which is the 52-week moving average for XRP. And he's saying that he's still bullish. He's still holding on, and he's not selling. So I don't know. I'm not selling. Rodney's not selling. I do think that these tariff things caused the markets to crash probably more than they should have. But at the end of the day, I'm still holding strong, and I'm still hopeful. Hopefully, the big thing that we talked about is China, right? China implemented an additional 34% tariffs on America. And Donald Trump said if they don't cancel these, because they already have tariffs on us, then we will implement an additional 50% tariff. So that all happens. It's April 7th. Oh, Jayhawk says, no, I mean, in general, to your question of what we're buying. Oh, yeah. I think that's probably the smartest thing that you can do is sign out of your wallet. Don't look at your portfolio. I haven't looked at my portfolio in a couple months, and I'm actually scared to. Hopefully my money's still in there. Hopefully I didn't get hacked, but I don't want to look at that. But this is the next step, right? We already have massive pain. The next step comes down to China. If China, which I don't think that they will. I personally don't think that China is going to remove their 34% tariffs. They're additional. I don't think that they will. I think that China is trying to negotiate. I think that Donald Trump's trying to negotiate. We saw the EU come to the table, right? They're going to give us 0% tariffs, which we like. Zero tariffs, zero for zero tariffs. I don't see China cutting their 34% tariffs. But like I said at the beginning of the show, we have the power. We have the power. We import over $1.1 trillion more than China does from us. So we do have the negotiating power, whether you like it or not, when it comes to China. So that's going to be interesting tomorrow. Big day. Will China cut their 34% tariffs or not? We've already seen a number of other countries already do so. Rodney pulled up some right here. I want to check it out as well. This is from Watcher Guru. All right, go ahead and pull this up, Coach. So this is what we just talked about. President Trump threatens additional 50% tariffs on China if it does not withdraw its 34% tariff increase. President Trump says that countries from all over the world have reached out to negotiate new trade deals. Terrible news here. $200 billion liquidated from the cryptocurrency markets in the past 60 minutes. Bullish news here, but as you guys know, this was all based off of some fake news that Donald Trump said that he was going to pause tariffs for 90 days to certain countries. We understand that that's now fake. And the S&P 500 officially enters bear market territory. So we entered it. Will we close higher on the day? Will we close higher on the week? That's the question. Or else we are in some, I would say, some significant trouble when it comes to crypto and stocks. And this is where we're at today. On the day, only down 1.19%. We actually started off much worse than that. I think the futures last night were significantly down. On the day, the S&P 500 only down 94 points, 1.86%. And the Russell 2000 is actually up. The Russell 2000 is actually in the green a little bit today. While the entire cryptocurrency, wow, we're getting slaughtered though. Crypto's getting slaughtered. Crypto's down 5%. And it was last week, right? On April 2nd, Donald Trump did these tariffs, and crypto didn't budge at all. Bitcoin was at $83,000. ETH was above $2,000. XRP was holding strong above 210. And then it wasn't until the weekend, pretty much last night, until we saw Bitcoin and crypto start to take a hit. So crypto is moving with the markets, 2.5 trillion. Kayla asks, when is Lambo over? It's not over till it's over, right? I still have hope. I still do have hope in Donald Trump. I don't know. Call me crazy. I voted for him. I'm not going to say I agree with everything that he's done with tariffs and it's been perfect, but I will say, and if you voted for Donald Trump, you have to agree, you understood that tariffs were part of the plan. He ran on this. It's not like he ran on immigration. What else did he run on? Immigration, keeping the world safe, ending the wars. He also ran on tariffs. On every single speech that he gave, he talked about tariffs. He talked about it being a beautiful word. And I do think it is going to work. I really do. I'm an optimist. I'm not looking at this from an April 2nd to April 7th perspective. I'm looking at this over the course of 3 years, over the course of his term. Will the economy, will the stock market, will the crypto market be better than today? My answer is yes. I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think that the Dow Jones, go ahead and pull this up, will be trading below 37,857 when Donald Trump is finished with his term? Do you think the S&P will be below $5,000? Do you think the Russell 2000 will be below 1834? Do you think Bitcoin will be below $78,000? If the answer is yes, you think it will be, sell now. Get out of here. Get out of here. If you don't, then it's a good time to buy or it's a good time to hold. Now, ETH, I mean, and I'm not talking about meme coins. Meme coins, a lot of them are absolutely wrecked, guys. I think the top ones will recover, but a lot of them are actually absolutely wrecked. But ETH, I mean, some of these altcoins too will not make a comeback, right? Like I've been holding Polkadot since 2022, and it might be time to exit. I mean, this chart looks like a meme coin chart. I don't really see Polkadot recovering. I don't want to sell the bottom at $3. I mean, I might as well just hold it, right? But some of these altcoins, they're done for. But that's the question you have to ask yourself. There's a lot of people on here. There's an emergency Fed meeting. I know there is, yeah. Pumpsky, what's up, Pumpsky? There's an emergency Fed meeting at 11:30 a.m., which should already be taking place then, right? Should already be taking place. The weed be knowing, Jakey? So that's what you have to ask yourself, guys. If you think that the stock market and the crypto markets will be lower in 3 years when Donald Trump finishes his term than they are today, then you need to sell, you need to get out, take your profits or take your losses and get out. But if you do believe that the stock market, the crypto market, the equities, the top stocks will recover and be trading higher, then you need to hold. That's all you need to do. I'm not doing anything. Morning, Pumpsky. I'm not doing anything. I'm sitting on my hands. And I actually do have some capital to deploy into markets, but I am waiting for a bottom. If I get the bottom, I'll put money in. If not, I'll just sit on my hands and do nothing. But I am confident. Still here fighting the bulls. Are you bearish? Or are you bullish? I remain bullish because I'm a long-term investor. I'm 29. I'm not trying to retire this year, right? And for my, I told you guys I invest in like boring stocks. I got 401ks. I'll probably tell them, hey, put the other, because I already put like $12,000 into the markets for my 401k. It's very, very boring. I'm going to tell them to put the other, you deploy capital when everyone's fearful. And trust me, right now, we haven't seen this much fear in a long, long, long time. Or sell now and buy lower. I don't know. That's not something that I would personally ever do. Selling my ETH at $1,500, it doesn't make sense, right? To buy lower, like what if it doesn't go lower? What if it goes back up to 2K? Selling your Bitcoin at $77,000, what if it doesn't go lower? It might go to 60,000, might go to 65, but is it worth taking a loss on that and then putting more money in? I don't think so. Buy high, sell low. That's usually what people do in cryptocurrency. They buy high, they sell low, and they get absolutely wrecked. So let's go back to Twitter. Let's see what anything else has happened in the past couple of days. This is David Eisenhower saying, Crypto Haze dropped a bombshell forecast. Oh, this is interesting. Bitcoin hitting $250,000 by year-end 2025 is back on the table. His analysis of the Fed's latest moves reveals a massive shift that most traders are completely missing. Everything you need to know. So, Powell's FOMC statements last week contained three critical pivots that signal a major liquidity tsunami ahead. Even with the S&P down around 10%, the Fed is already showing its cards. This is happening despite strong GDP growth and low unemployment. Quantitative tightening reduction for treasury bills from $25 billion to just $5 billion per month. Why would the Fed do this when the U.S. economy is supposedly strong and inflation is still above target? He explains that. Powell openly teased the return of quantitative easing. We just need this man to cut rates, which I think Donald Trump is actually forcing him to do so. The Fed has officially announced it will look through any inflation caused by tariffs. Translation, even if Trump implements 50% tariffs and inflation spikes, Powell will consider it transitory and continue easing monetary policy. And they talk about Janet Yellen. So this is Arthur's timeline. April could be rough due to tax season, which we know is coming up in 10 days, 8 days. U.S. tax season is April 15th. Debt ceiling uncertainty, treasury accounts fluctuations. By early May, these questions will get answered, and the money printer starts warming up. Europe will print to fund defense spending. China can finally unleash monetary stimulus without yen depreciation fears. Japan will continue its accommodative policy. Give me his predictions. Where's his predictions? Okay, so for altcoins, Arthur sees a shift. For meme coins likely suffer for a while after $7 billion in value extraction from retail. Projects with real users and cash flow will attract capital. DeFi protocols will actually, with actual utility and earnings, and diehard communities that are growing steadily. I want to find his predictions. So Arthur says, I think we could still chop around until summer, but by third quarter, the consensus will shift to everyone's printing money. Bitcoin should lead this narrative shift and be much higher by then. His boldest prediction, $250,000 Bitcoin by year end 2025. We went from 70K to 110K just because Trump said he was going to do some regulatory stuff. If we have words plus a lot of printed money, I think the sky's the limit. Okay, I like that. This right here, guys, is bullish. And I will say, I was hating on Arthur Hayes because I didn't want to hear what he was saying. But at the end of the day, he was pretty right. He was saying back in January that the markets are going to correct. And that's exactly what we did. So we'll end this show with that one, guys. Some big news from Arthur Hayes, at least a little bit more bullish. And yeah, just a wild time in crypto. Donald Trump. I guess the things to look out for this week is China. Are they going to cut their 34% additional tariffs on the U.S.? If not, they're facing 50% tariffs that will take place on April 10th? April 8th. That's what it was. April 8th. We'll look for other countries to cut their tariffs. We already saw the EU come to the table. We saw Vietnam. We saw a lot of other countries. The Ape Life says Bitcoin 250K, E3K. That wouldn't be very good. And we'll keep our eyes on the meme coin space. Getting slaughtered. Bank getting slaughtered. As David mentioned in that post, over $7 billion pulled out of the meme coin space, which is wild. A lot of that from Trump. A lot of that from Melania. A lot of that from Libra. And we should also check out on Hayden Davis. How's Hayden Davis doing? How's that kid not in jail yet? So that's the show, guys. We appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know what I'm doing. I'm holding, not selling, and waiting to see what happens with these tariffs and this market. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Appreciate you guys coming in. Have a good day, everybody. See you at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Peace.